This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hi friends, I'm Carrie Jo, and this is Holy Chuckles Podcast. This is a space for honest faith, lived experiences, and shining a light in the places we've learned to hide. I'm not here to explain faith. I'm here to live it out loud. So take a breath and let's make room for what's real. Welcome back to Holy Chuckles Podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I've been really living in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 14 through 18. I heard someone say that the Bible, the letters stood for basic instruction before leaving Earth. And I found that so interesting because it's literally what's happening in my life now. I'm understanding my healing through these verses. And I'm not ever a person that thought I would pick up the Bible and even understand it. That was my mom. She knew the Bible backwards and forwards and knew everything that it meant. But then I realized she knew everything that it meant for her. Everybody has a different perspective. Everybody is growing and healing in different ways. Yeah, we have generational patterns that are passed down, but we also have things in our lives that happen to us that we create that don't happen to the other people in our families or in our lives. So how can someone give you the guide that you need if they've never been through it? When I was a director and I was over operations, I would learn every position that I could, because how could I manage someone if I didn't know what their job was? It always made me laugh when leadership would tell you how to do a job that they didn't even know how to do. How could they do that? How do they even know what happens in that position or even what the workflow is if they've never done it? That always baffled me. And I feel the same way in this healing and growing that I'm doing. How can you tell me how to grow or how to heal if you haven't been through the things that I've been through? If you haven't lived inside this body and felt the things that I have felt and done the things that I have done and been through what I have been through. And that's not just someone telling me how to heal and how to grow. I'm also telling myself every single one of us has a different path. We're individuals. We all came here to do something completely different. It's not my job to tell you how to be you. It's not your job to tell me how to be me. When I'm in chapter 3, living in verse 14 through 18, it's going to mean something completely different to you than it will to me. My podcast isn't to tell you how to grow, isn't to tell you how to heal. My podcast is just a testimony of my healing. And maybe you find something in it that resonates with you. One sentence may spark something in you that makes you realize something. Maybe that's what this podcast is for. I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to let it be what it is. Sometimes it's difficult for me because I want to know, God, what is this for? What am I doing? Where are we going? And then I just have to sit in here and say, it's not for me to know right now. The only thing that I know right now in this minute is that I'm sitting here talking to you. Other than that, I have no idea what this day is going to bring. And I'm open to it. For the first time in my life, I've been this way. In my past, I've had to know every step. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What's going to happen? What's the outcome? I had to rush towards it. And right now, I'm just here, open, waiting for what's just going to happen in the next hour, having faith, not rushing towards the next thing in life. Even the next hour in life makes me think of where I've been living in these verses, these last 3 weeks in chapter 3. Verse 14 and 18 is about God talking to Samuel. We already know Samuel heard a voice, and finally Eli was like, oh, wait, Samuel, that's God. So when he calls you again, say your servant is listening. God talks to Samuel and he basically says, hey, what's going to happen is going to happen in Eli's house. There's nothing that can change. When Samuel heard from God, he didn't run down the hallway and tell Eli. He went back to bed. That's exactly what he did. God gave Samuel the vision that nothing was going to change for Eli. His house was not going to be atoned, no sacrifice, nothing that Eli could do would change the trajectory of what was going to happen. God told Samuel that. Samuel laid his head down and went to bed. He went to sleep. Even though Samuel might not have understood all of it, Samuel knew that this was going to cause some chaos, some issue. But Samuel also knew there was no reason to cause chaos in the middle of the night. Isn't that interesting? A young boy who knew nothing about nothing knew just to go back to bed. There was no reason to cause chaos in the middle of the night. It could wait until the morning time. Because what was going to happen? If he said something, what was it going to change? Even in the morning, Samuel didn't wake up and run down the hallway to spill the beans to Eli. Samuel did what Samuel did every single day. He opened the doors of the house of the Lord. Was he skirting around telling Eli? Maybe. It does say in the verse that he was afraid to tell Eli what God had said, but he was also doing what he knew how to do. Isn't that so childlike? Just follow the routine and do what I need to do. I can resonate with Samuel because even though I was a mischievous kid, some might even say naughty, I still wanted to skirt around anything that would cause dramatics. I feel like that's what Samuel did. He followed his routine. He went back to bed. If I don't have to deal with it now, then I'll feel okay. If I don't have to deal with what's happening, what I know, then I'll feel safe for these minutes that I can. I feel that with Samuel because my whole life routine has made me feel safe. Even when I was a kid, routine made me feel safe. I talk about in other episodes how my mom made me get up and walk every morning, and even that made me feel safe. I may not have liked it, but it made me feel safe. Having a routine when I was growing up, get up in the morning, do our devotionals, get dressed, eat breakfast, get to school, after school activities, back home, play outside or do our homework, dinner at 6, Showers, bed, routines made me feel safe. And I often wonder if routines made my mom feel safe, and that's why we were on them. I'm not saying people don't have routines and they don't keep things the same, but I feel like as a kid, ours was very much the same and we didn't kind of defer from it. And honestly, as an adult, those routines helped me stay safe. And I hated when I went off my routine. And it caused something emotionally when I had to go off my routine, when I couldn't stay to the safe space that I created. It made me unstable, unhappy, unsteady. And here Samuel is just running to open the church doors because he knew he was going to have to face Eli eventually. And if he could keep himself in a safe space for that short time, all would be well. It goes on to say in the verses, Eli called Samuel, and Samuel answered, "Here I am." And Eli asked Samuel, "What was it that God said to you?" Then Eli said something very interesting. "Don't hide it from me. May God deal with you, be it ever so severely, if you hide from me anything he told you." In the past, Eli hadn't been open to hearing what God was telling him. Remember, God had to send the unnamed man. Not only did God have to send the unnamed man, but God in the past talked directly to Eli. But Eli wasn't hearing what God was saying because Eli was more concerned with keeping his sons happy. And maybe it wasn't even keeping his sons happy. Maybe it's because his sons created so much chaos that Eli didn't even know how to get out of it. Didn't even know what to do with the chaos anymore. I can resonate with that. How much chaos in my life have I caused for myself that I didn't even know how to get out of? That I didn't even know if I could get out of? I just walked around causing havoc to myself. Yeah, probably included others around me, but I just continuously caused chaos in my life because of things I thought I was supposed to do. Even in this verse, Eli has to tell Samuel, "Don't lie to me, give it to me straight." Because isn't that kind of our MO? Not to tell the truth, to skirt around it so we can manage other people's feelings. I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm not going to tell you the whole truth. Or I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm going to put it in a way that will allow you to feel okay about what I'm going to tell you. So much of my life, I had done that as well. I had taken on the burden of things so it didn't affect someone else. I thought so highly of them that I didn't allow it to affect them. But I didn't think that highly of myself to know it wasn't just mine to take on. Even in my relationships, I took on the brunt of everything, not because my partners asked me to. I chose that. I realized in these last couple of weeks that I conditioned people around me to lay their burdens on me or allow me to be the fixer. That's such a weird word to use, conditioned, but it's exactly what I did because it made me feel needed. It made me feel worthy. It made me feel like I brought something to the table. Because if they needed me, then I meant something. I conditioned the people in my life to need me. I conditioned them to think that I could fix everything. I conditioned myself to think that. I took on everything so I could have a purpose and then I could be loved. Because without a purpose, why would someone love me? In case you're listening to this and you don't know, let me tell you, because in my life, before now, I wish someone had told me that I am loved just because I'm breathing. You are loved just because you're breathing. Even if you have no one else in your life but you are loved. God created you out of God's magnificence. You are a piece of God's magnificence. Everything that God is love. And because you are created from God and God is love, you are love. And there is nothing you can be but loved. If there's nothing else I know in this moment, I know that. I feel that. There is nothing that I have to do. There is nothing that I have to fix, that I have to perform, that I have to be. Nothing except exactly who I am right here in this moment. And every single moment I change, and every single moment I am loved just as I am in that moment. And so are you. You are loved just as you are. Whether you have something or whether you have nothing, you are loved. Whether you can fix something or fix nothing, you are loved. God put you here for a purpose, and that purpose is love. God put you here to create something out of the love that you are. In this story, I also resonated with Eli because Eli ignored his connection to God. We all have a connection to God because we're a piece of God. We're made from God. God said, I created you in my image. Eli started ignoring that connection. I don't know if it's because the chaos that he let happen just became too much. I don't know if it was the disappointment he might have thought God had for him because of the chaos he let happen, or the chaos he didn't stop that was caused by his sons. There could be many reasons, but I resonate with Eli because he reminds me of my teenage years, maybe even young adult years, because I wanted to belong so much that I stopped listening to what I knew. I stopped correcting myself on things that I knew I shouldn't be doing. I became a part of things that I didn't want to be a part of just to belong. This verse goes on to say, Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. Then Eli replied, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in the Lord's eyes." Samuel just told Eli exactly what happened, just as is. He didn't mince his words. He didn't change his words. He didn't exaggerate. He didn't minimize. He just said exactly how God told him. How many of us have said exactly how it is? How hard is that to say exactly what it is? How many conversations do you have to have with yourself to tell someone exactly what you want to say, exactly how it is, not even that it's not the truth, it's your truth? How many times have you held in your truth, what you're going through, what it is, or how it's affecting you, what's really happening, because you want to save their feelings, but yet it's affecting you and causing you to be uncomfortable, to be unhappy? How many of us have stopped telling the truth, our truth? Because what if our truth causes someone not to want to talk to us, not to want to be around us? Then what? I'm learning that the what ifs don't matter anymore. I'm learning that the what ifs are telling their own truths. Because if those what ifs are true, then was that person a valuable part of our life? Was that person someone who really needs to be in my life? Over the course of the last year, I've told my truths many times. And it could be very small truths, just truths that mean something to me. Those truths have caused me relationships. I'm still here, and I'm still standing, and I'm still okay. In fact, I'm better than okay, because now not only does that person know the truth, but I also know the truth. That saying, the truth will set you free. Sometimes it sets you free from relationships that were never reciprocal relationships. Even right now in my life, not having a lot of relationships, I could probably count them on one hand. I am still loved. I am still cared for, because I'm the one showing myself the love. In my life before, I would look for that love outward, by something, by somebody. And now the only place that I'm looking for that love is inward. No one has to give me that love. No one has to show me that love. I give it and show it to myself daily. If I have people in my life, that's the cherry on top of the sundae. I'm grateful for the people that I have in my life right now, who know me just as I am in this moment. Nothing more, nothing less. Who understand and know this raw version of me. Because right now, here in my life, there is no one else I know how to be. I don't know how to perform anymore. I've lost that capability. Even in this podcast, when I first started out, those video episodes, although they were truthful, even those to me were still a performance, because I was still trying to understand this healing and this growing. And even the first episodes where I stopped being on video, to me, are still somewhat of a performance. I'm understanding things a little bit more. I'm understanding myself a little bit more in those episodes, but that mask that I used to wear was still kind of trying to hang on. It's probably only been in these last couple of months that I have been the most raw and the most me, the most authentic that I can ever remember me being. I didn't understand my whole life that I could give myself everything I needed, and there was nothing outside of me that I needed to be whole. These verses have allowed me to come back to me, not because these verses told me what to do. It's because I took the time to live in these verses and understand what they meant for me, to understand that God was speaking to me in ways that only my soul would understand. God was showing me how to grow, how to heal. God knew exactly when it was my time to start healing, to start growing, to start finding my authentic self. God gave me 1 Samuel so I could understand myself. Through this little boy, there are so many stories in this book that God could have picked out for me that may have resonated with any time in my life. But God knew at 50, Carrie Joe would be ready. Just like God knew Samuel was ready to hear this message and to take it to Eli. And God knew Samuel was going to give the message just as God had told him. God knew I was ready to start this podcast. God knew I was ready to share my healing journey. I laugh because there's not a lot of people that will probably share their healing journey on the internet. God knew. Carrie Jo will do it. I'm going to pick her. But God knew I was ready and I would do it. I'm so grateful that God has used this little boy in this story to guide me in my healing, to find my authentic self, the version of me that I lost a long time ago through the chaos that I continuously created for myself. I am so grateful that God used this little boy to remind me that not only am I loved, but I am a piece of the magnificence of God.